They are harvesting your energy. Every day, every hour, you think you are simply living, working, giving, loving, but beneath the surface, forces are draining you. Not always consciously, not always maliciously, but relentlessly. And the more unconscious you remain, the more they feed. The more unaware you are, the more you become fuel for others. Jung warned us about this danger, that when we are disconnected from our own energy, our own soul, we become prey for the shadows of those around us. You have felt it, haven't you? The exhaustion after spending time with certain people, the heaviness in your body when you've given too much in a relationship, the emptiness in your spirit after a day of pretending, pleasing, performing. This is not coincidence. This is not weakness. This is energy being drained, and it is costing you your life. Jung said that each of us carries both light and shadow, both conscious self and unconscious drives. When you live unaware of your shadow, you are not in control of your energy. Others step into that void. They project onto you. They feed on you. They manipulate, often without even realizing it, because unconsciousness seeks energy wherever it can. And you, the empathic one, the open one, the giving one, become the perfect host. This is the problem of our age. In a world obsessed with appearances, masks, and performance, few people truly generate their own energy. Most survive by stealing it from others. Through attention, validation, conflict, or even love, they drain the unaware. And you, if you do not awaken, will continue to be harvested. Think of the times you felt invisible in a room until someone needed something from you. Suddenly, all eyes turn to you, but only to extract what you can give, your time, your attention, your effort. Or the relationship where your worth was measured not by who you are, but by how much you could sacrifice. Or the workplace where your loyalty was rewarded, not with respect, but with deeper exploitation. These are not isolated experiences. They are patterns of energy theft. Jung called this the problem of projection. When people refuse to face their own darkness, they project it outward. They look for others to carry it. They expect others to absorb their pain, their fear, their emptiness. And if you are open, if you are generous, if you are unaware, you will take it on. You will carry what is not yours, and slowly you will collapse. The cost of this unconscious exchange is enormous. You lose vitality. You lose clarity. You lose years of your life to battles that are not your own. And all because you have not been taught to protect your energy, because no one told you that your soul is the most valuable resource in the world, and everyone is reaching for it. But Jung did not leave us in despair. He offered a map. He showed us that individuation, the process of becoming whole, authentic, and aware, is the shield against energy theft. To know your shadow is to reclaim your energy. To face your darkness is to stop being prey for the darkness of others. Yet before you can protect yourself, you must see the game clearly. You must recognize how energy is harvested, how masks conceal parasitism, how unconsciousness exploits the awake. And the first step is here, to admit the problem, to accept that you have been drained, to acknowledge that your fatigue, your confusion, your emptiness are not failures, but symptoms of being used. And here lies the truth that shocks. Most of the people around you are not malicious monsters. They are simply unconscious. They do not know their own shadow, so they feed on yours. They do not know how to generate energy, so they harvest it from you. But whether intentional or not, the effect is the same. Your light dims, your strength fades, your life is stolen piece by piece. But once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you admit the harvest, you begin the rebellion. And this rebellion is the path to freedom. In the next part, we will go deeper into how energy is stolen, the everyday dynamics that strip you of strength, and the psychological truths that keep you trapped. Because until you name the theft, you cannot stop it. And once you stop it, everything changes. They take your light like it is a natural resource, like sunlight they are entitled to. They ask for favors as if the world owes them. They interrupt your day with urgent crises that never existed before you answered the phone. They confide traumatic, unresolved drama in you, as if you are an endless well. You feel obligated. You feel responsible. You give. And when your cup is empty, they are already reaching for another sip. This is not generosity. It is harvesting. It is an economy of souls where your currency is attention and the merchants never stop trading. Look closely and you will see the patterns. First, there is the subtle test of availability. The person who calls at midnight is testing the elasticity of your boundaries. Each time you pick up, you extend the perimeter of what you will accept. The more you accept, the more they ask. The more they ask, the more you supply. This is the slow siphoning of energy that wears you thin over months and years. You do not notice it because it begins in tiny increments, a text here, a late request there, until your hours, your moods, even your dreams are tilted towards servicing someone else's hunger. Then there is the drama economy. Some people maintain chaos because chaos is a currency. If they can make everything around them unstable, they can demand your stabilizing force. They show up with emergencies that require emotional labor. Hold me, fix me, listen to me, validate me. You provide structure, empathy, presence. You hold them, they feel better, you feel collapsed. In this cycle, your empathy becomes their fuel. Jung would say they project their unintegrated shadow onto you. You receive a tidal wave of feeling that is not yours, and because you are generous, you carry it. The projection must be absorbed somewhere, and your openness makes you the nearest vessel. You have also seen the charm economy, and it is the trickiest. They flatter you with precision. They learn which compliments move you, which gestures make you feel seen. They invest small acts of wonder so you keep thinking they are rare. Then, as your guard lowers, they take more. This is Machiavellian in its craft. Cultivate trust, then exploit it. Machiavelli wrote that appearances matter more than truth when power is at stake. The modern con artist of energy uses the same rule. They appear kind, they appear caring, they appear spiritually attuned until you ask for reciprocity. Then the illusion crumbles. Nietzsche offers a sharper lens. He named the will to power as the driving force of human beings. Not all power is external dominance. Much of it is the quiet appetite for attention, for emotional capital. Those who harvest energy are often driven by a private hunger for validation. They are fragile people pretending to be strong, and their strategy is to secure sources of adoration. They feed on your admiration until the reservoir is dry, then move to another oasis. Nietzsche would say they are caught in resentment, handicapped by their inability to create inner power, so they feed on yours. There is also the manipulator who weaponizes guilt. They know you care. They know you feel bad when you disappoint people. So they frame requests as moral obligations. After all I did for you, they say with a smile that masks calculation. They convert debt into control. Guilt is an ancient lever. One tug, and your autonomy leans toward surrender. Jung would point to this as projection and unconscious demand. They do not name what they want directly. Instead, they make you complicit in their narrative of sacrifice. You end up trying to prove you are good through service, and in proving, you become less yourself. Then there are the subtle vampires who steal your time by monopolizing attention. Meetings that could be 2 minutes become 2 hours because someone narrates an internal drama you never asked to host. Social gatherings become exhaustions where your role is to be the empathic anchor for every emotional ripple. You listen, you nod, you offer solutions, you leave thinner. The pattern repeats. People who depend on being emotionally held will seek you out because you are predictable in your giving. The world learns, when in need, phone the person who will hold, and that person is you until you are not. Sometimes the harvesting is institutional. Workplaces run on emotional extraction. Employers or teams valorize going the extra mile while normalizing burnout. You are praised for staying late. You are rewarded with more demands, not with restoration. The corporate persona is that of the tireless contributor. The shadow of the company is that it profits off exhausted loyalty. Jung would say the organization projects its shadow onto its employees. The parts of the system it refuses to own get passed down as labor and emotional burden. You are a container for systemic discomfort until you break. Friends can harvest you too, not out of cruelty, but from learned helplessness. They have never learned how to soothe themselves, so they outsource that skill. They spill, you mop. You internalize their dependency as your responsibility. This becomes normalized. You start to mistake caregiving for love. You confuse being needed with being valued. And because many of our longest relationships are built this way, it takes courage to see the truth. The ones you thought loved you may actually be addicted to your energy. The technique of intermittent reinforcement makes this dynamic stick. Psychologists know that unpredictability keeps people hooked. Sometimes they give you kindness and validation, sometimes coldness. This inconsistency creates hope, which is tripwire for your attachment. You keep returning, expecting the warm phase to return, and that cycle keeps your energy accessible. It is the same mechanism therapists warn about in abusive dynamics. The harvesters are not always constant predators. They are often intermittent rewardists who create dependence by oscillating between warmth and neglect. You misconstrue scarcity and abundance, and your nervous system becomes rewired to perform caretaking even when it costs you. We must also name the intellectual energy thieves, debates that feed ego, not understanding. Some people use conversation as a hunting ground. They argue not to arrive at truth, but to be right. They drain others with their certainty, their need to be admired for intellect. You leave feeling intellectually exhausted, doubting your competence. The harvest in these moments is the depletion of mental bandwidth. People who cannot tolerate uncertainty will keep you in debate, extracting clarity from you as if you were a lamp they could siphon. Why does this happen? Jung tells us because of projection and shadow. When someone cannot face a part of themselves, their envy, their loneliness, their fear, it becomes alien. They then locate that alien in others and demand that the other carry it. You become the repository for what they will not own. Nietzsche teaches us that humans seek power in the absence of self-creation. Machiavelli reveals how appearances become strategies for gain. Together, these thinkers explain the inner economy. When inner resources are scarce, people harvest externally. Your energy becomes a battlefield because they have not learned to mine their own interior. Consider the relational architectures that enable harvesting. Enmeshment is one. Blurred boundaries where one person's emotions spill into another's identity. Codependency is another. One person's sense of worth depends on rescuing the other. Narcissistic supply is the third. Constant admiration sustains a fragile self. All three are syndromes of energy exchange, where one party is overgiving and the other overtaking. They are structural, not merely individual blind spots. You are not broken for being drawn into them. You were simply swimming in a system that normalized imbalance. Recognizing these systems requires language. Give names to behaviors: guilt trap, emergency culture, intermittent reinforcement, projection, intellectual domination. When you can label the theft, it loses its mystical quality and becomes actionable. The moment the harvest acquires a name, you can refuse it. The first refusal is small. It might be a text that you do not answer at midnight. It might be a polite boundary at a family dinner. It might be saying, "I can't do that right now," and meaning it. Each time you uphold a small boundary, you teach the world a new law. You are not a free resource, and yet boundaries alone are not always enough, because harvesters adapt, they escalate. When you deny them easy access, their tactics shift, the guilt intensifies, they escalate drama, they weaponize withdrawal and accusation. This is when your centering becomes crucial. If you are shaken by their escalation, they have found a vulnerability to exploit. If you remain anchored, breathing, naming the behavior, holding your line with calm, they lose their currency. They cannot harvest what they cannot reach. The harvest depends on your unguarded reaction. But how do you anchor yourself in the storm? Jung suggests the inner practice of integration. Meet your own shadow so others can no longer project theirs onto you. When you understand your own hunger for validation, for safety, for approval, you stop feeding it with others' reflections. You stop mistaking their need for your fault. The practice looks like this. Notice when a conversation makes you small. Ask which hunger in you is triggered, and then choose a different response. Instead of rescuing, choose to witness. Instead of absorbing, choose to ask, is this mine? This small pause is a medicine. It interrupts the automatic harvest. Another practice is energetic hygiene. Consider your daily rituals like spiritual maintenance. Do you begin the day with a grounding practice or a drip feed of others? Emergencies? Do you check social media before you center, letting others' crises set your mood? Do you carry unresolved conversations into your sleep? Create a buffer. Start with a 10-minute morning ritual to charge your own battery. Breathwork, journaling, a walk. End with a shutdown ritual. Turn off notifications at a set time. Signal to your ecosystem that you are not on call. These are practical safeguards that make you harder to harvest. You must also become fluent in the economy of exchange. Ask, what is the balance of giving and receiving in my close relationships? If you have been a constant giver, practice receiving first. Let someone care for you without attaching obligation. If reciprocity is missing long-term, the relationship is extracting. Reciprocation is the measure of health. A harvest relationship is one way. A nourishing relationship is two-way. This is a sober test. Measure the flow across months, not moments. Patterns reveal truth. People who sincerely care will show a trajectory of equitable exchange. Those who harvest will show imbalance. Becoming less harvestable demands truth-telling. You will need to speak with clarity. I can't take that on. I need time. I don't want to be the emergency person. Say these sentences without apology. They are not cruelty. They are sovereignty. The first time you speak them, it may feel like rebellion. You may be met with anger and tears, or attempts to reframe you as selfish. Stay steady. The harvesters will test you. Their initial fury is a sign you are doing something right. They are used to free access. Your refusal is new input. At a societal level, the harvesting phenomenon is baked into cultures that reward hyperproductivity and emotional overextension. We are taught that being indispensable is valuable. We celebrate the person who sacrifices rest for work. We valorize the parent who gives without limits. These cultural scripts make harvesting respectable. To resist, you must unlearn praise for martyrdom. Admiration for exhaustion is toxic. The new ethic is sustainable presence, being available from replenishment, not depletion. And we must be honest about the cost of not resisting. The long-term harvest results in soul erosion. The color drains from your days. Your creativity fades. You lose the capacity to feel joy because your nervous system is constantly regulating the needs of others. Chronic harvesting leads to resentment, depression, and a brittle sense of self. People who finally break free often describe a period of grief for the losses they endured, followed by an astonishing recovery of self. That grief is not a failure. It is the price of reparation. To escape the harvest, Create a new economy in your life. Invest in practices that generate your own energy rather than only exchange it. Create routines that replenish, sleep, nature, creative work for its own sake, time alone. Learn to ask for what you need and to receive without guilt. Notice that when you cultivate self-sourcing, you are less attractive as a harvest target. Harvesters prefer the drained and obliging. A person who generates light will recalibrate the relationship. Either the harvest stops or the harvester moves to a new quarry. There is one final layer to name: compassion without collapse. You can be compassionate and not be a doormat. There is a difference between bearing witness to someone's suffering and becoming their container. True compassion includes wisdom. Not every story needs your rescue. Jung taught that individuation includes learning where to hold and where to release. Your empathy is powerful when it is selective, not when it is indiscriminate. Cultivate the skill of accompanying without absorbing. This is the psychology of protection. See the harvest for what it is. Name the tactics. Fortify yourself with rituals. Set boundaries. Practice reflection and refuse to be the endless well. When you do this, you do not become hard-hearted. You become whole. You become a person whose presence is no longer a commodity, but a gift offered from abundance. And after you stop the harvest, something radical happens. You rediscover time. You rediscover attention. Your creative reserves return. You find your voice again. The world that once drained you now receives the full you, not the exhausted residue. You live with margin, with the capacity to love without being consumed, to give without losing yourself. But before you can live there, you must be prepared for resistance. Harvesters will not surrender their supply easily. They will escalate, weaponize guilt, cry betrayal, even smear you. This is the test of your boundary strength. Hold steady. Use the rituals. Remember that Jung taught endurance of the inner work. The integration of shadow requires persistence. The harvest will not stop overnight. But each firm boundary is a brick in the wall that keeps your energy safe. In the next part, we will confront the inner shadows that make you susceptible. We will look at your own unconscious patterns, the ways you have learned to give away power, the stories that quietly tell you you are only worthy when you are useful. We will then build a concrete plan to protect your energy permanently. Daily rituals, relational audits, conversation scripts, and a spiritual architecture that sustains you. This is the work of individuation, is the work of reclaiming your life. You know now how others harvest your energy, but the truth is more uncomfortable. They can only harvest what you allow. This does not mean the theft is your fault. It means your unconscious agreements make it possible. Jung warned that what remains unconscious in you will rule your life, and you will call it fate. To stop the harvest, you must confront not only the harvesters, but your own hidden contracts with them. Why do you let others take so much? Look into the silence of your own heart, and you will find patterns: the fear of rejection, the addiction to being seen as good, the hunger to be needed. These are not flaws, they are wounds, but wounds left unnamed become chains. You think you are choosing generosity, but often you are choosing survival. You give because you are terrified of being abandoned. You say yes because you are terrified of being called selfish. You rescue because you do not know who you are without being useful. This is why some people feel magnetized to you. They sense your unconscious permission. They know, without words, that you will absorb what they unload. Jung called this the problem of the persona. The mask you wear to be accepted becomes the very net that traps you. Your mask may be the helper, the caretaker, the strong one, the reliable one. Society rewards you for wearing it. But the mask is not the self, and the more you identify with it, the more you sacrifice your life to others' needs. Let us be brutally honest. How many times have you said yes when every fiber of your being screamed no? How many times have you stayed in conversations that drained you because leaving felt rude? How many times have you given money, time, attention, forgiveness, not because you wanted to, but because you felt guilty? These are not just polite gestures. They are acts of self-erasure. Each one cuts a thread from your soul and ties it to another's hunger. And over time, the tapestry of your being unravels. Jung would tell you that this is not generosity, it is shadow at work. In the shadow hides your suppressed anger, your unspoken boundaries, your resentment. You deny them, but they do not disappear. They leak out in fatigue, in bitterness, in the quiet despair of feeling invisible. The harvesters thrive because your shadow is unacknowledged. They exploit what you refuse to own. Until you integrate it, you will continue to be prey. Nowhere is this clearer than when you say the word no. The moment you resist, the shadow games begin. You tell someone no, no, I cannot help right now. No, I cannot give you that. No, I do not agree. And suddenly the mask of friendship or love collapses. Their reaction is revelation. Some respond with grace, but others erupt with anger, guilt trips, punishment, or silence. This eruption is not random. It is the shadow's rage at being denied fuel. You have seen it before. The partner who sulks, the friend who withdraws, the boss who retaliates. This is not about the request. It is about exposure. Your no reveals the dependency they tried to hide. And yet, denial is not only their test, it is yours. When you say no, do you stand steady, or do you collapse into guilt and quickly reverse your decision? This is where the harvest is either broken or reinforced. If you surrender after the first wave of anger, you teach them that escalation works. If you hold your ground with calm, you teach them that the harvest stops here. But holding your ground requires shadow work. You must make peace with being disliked. You must accept that others may call you selfish, rude, cold. Jung would say, only by integrating your own shadow, your own capacity for selfishness, for anger, for separation, can you become whole. Without this, your goodness is just a mask for fear. Nietzsche helps us here. He wrote that true strength is not in pleasing others, but in willing your own way. Most people, he said, live in resentment, bitterness disguised as morality. They call others selfish when they themselves are weak. They demand sacrifice because they cannot generate strength. To live authentically, Nietzsche insisted, is to rise above this economy of guilt, to affirm your own path without apology. This is what he called becoming the Übermensch, not a tyrant, but a creator of values. When you say no with authenticity, you step into that creation. Machiavelli, though often maligned, adds another sharp insight. He warned that appearances dominate human judgment. If you always appear endlessly kind, endlessly pliant, you become predictable prey. Sometimes, he argued, you must cultivate a reputation of firmness, even severity, to protect your autonomy. In psychological terms, this means stop advertising yourself as the one who never refuses. Stop signaling that you are available to be drained. Present boundaries not as exceptions, but as your natural state. Let others adjust to your presence, not the other way around. But perhaps the most radical teaching comes back to Jung, individuation. The process of becoming whole requires withdrawing projections, reclaiming the energy you have given away, and facing your own darkness. Ask yourself, why do I need to be seen as endlessly giving? Why do I collapse when someone disapproves? Why do I believe my worth depends on others' need? Sit with these questions without rushing for answers. The shadow will whisper back. It will tell you stories of childhood, of conditional love, of moments where being needed kept you safe. These stories are not excuses, they are maps. And if you follow them, you will discover why your energy leaks. The integration is painful. You will grieve. You will feel anger at those who used you, but also at yourself for allowing it. You will want to return to ignorance because ignorance is comfortable. But Jung insists, the only way out is through. Only by facing the darkness can you claim the light. Your fatigue, your resentment, your hidden anger, these are signals, not curses. They are the compass pointing you to where you must say, no. This is the deeper reason harvesters fear your awakening. Once you see, once you integrate, you are no longer compliant. You no longer react to guilt, flattery, or fear. You choose consciously, and when you choose consciously, their strategies collapse. They cannot harvest what you have reclaimed. They cannot steal from a soul that is whole. So let me ask you, how many people in your life have passed the test of no? How many have respected your refusal without retaliation? How many have treated the powerless with dignity even when nothing was to gain? Count them, and you will know how rare authentic character truly is, but do not despair. The rarity of authenticity makes it more valuable. Protect it, seek it, become it. Because here lies the paradox. As you reclaim your energy, you will lose people. The harvesters will fall away. They will say you changed, you became selfish, you lost your heart. But what you truly lost was your compliance. And though the loss may sting, the gain is freedom. Better to stand with a few who respect your energy than to drown with a crowd that drains it. Still, awareness alone is not enough. You must build a new structure, practices, boundaries, daily rituals that lock your energy into your own custody. In the final part, we will create that structure. We will learn how to protect your energy permanently, not only by understanding psychology, but by living it daily. Because protection is not a single act, it is a way of life. And once you live this way, the harvest ends forever. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This is where your journey turns. You have seen how your energy is harvested, how others exploit the cracks in your boundaries, how your own shadow conspires in the theft, but knowing this is not enough. Awareness without action is paralysis. You must now act. You must create a way of living that makes the theft impossible. You must become the guardian of your own soul. Think of yourself as a fortress. Until now, your gates have been wide open, decorated with banners of kindness, generosity, and availability. Everyone could enter. Some came with respect. Others came with hunger. You did not distinguish. You allowed all, and so your fortress was plundered, not by brute force, but by invitation. Today, the gates close. Not to trap you, not to isolate you, but to protect the treasury within. For your energy is not infinite. Your energy is life itself. To give it wisely is love. To give it blindly is destruction. The first step is recognition. Energy is not free. Every interaction, every word, every thought is an exchange. When you listen, you give energy. When you work, you give energy. When you worry, you give energy. The question is not whether you will give, but where and to whom. Jung would say the self is formed not by endless expansion, but by conscious direction. Just as the river carves valleys by flowing where it must, so too your life takes shape by where your energy flows. You must decide its course, or others will decide for you. The second step is boundaries. Boundaries are not walls of hatred. They are rivers of clarity. They define where you end and another begins. Without them, you are not compassionate, you are consumed. To set a boundary is to declare, this is my life, this is my time, this is my soul. Boundaries are not explained, they are lived. Do not announce them endlessly, enforce them quietly. Do not beg others to respect them yourself, and others will follow. Here is the test. The first time you enforce a boundary, guilt will come. It will whisper that you are selfish, cruel, cold. But guilt is not truth. Guilt is the echo of old conditioning. Breathe through it, stand still. On the other side of guilt is freedom. And the harvesters will learn. They will either adapt to your strength or they will leave. Let them leave. The fortress does not apologize for its walls. The third step is shadow integration. You cannot protect your energy by pretending to be only light. The harvesters thrive when you disown your anger, your selfishness, your desire for solitude. They manipulate you precisely because you deny these parts. Jung warned that the shadow, when ignored, rules us from the dark. But when embraced, it becomes strength. Say to yourself, I'm capable of anger, and that is good. I'm capable of selfishness, and that is good. I'm capable of walking away, and that is good. These truths do not make you cruel. They make you whole. And wholeness cannot be harvested. Nietzsche pushes this further. He reminds us that most people live in herds, obeying out of fear, sacrificing their will for acceptance. He called for the courage to live beyond the herd, to create one's own path. Protecting your energy is an act of rebellion. It is saying, I will not be drained to fuel the comfort of the herd. I will not betray myself to fit your expectations. I will not carry your unresolved chaos just to keep you near. I choose my path, even if it is lonely. This loneliness is the price of sovereignty, but what comes after is not emptiness. It is power. Machiavelli adds the final layer, strategy. He knew that appearances shape reality. To protect your energy, you must learn to project strength, not endless availability. Sometimes this means saying less, not more. Sometimes it means withholding your emotions until trust is earned. Sometimes it means deliberately cultivating an air of mystery. This is not manipulation, it is self-defense. For predators look for easy prey. When you appear guarded, discerning, unshakable, they move on. Let them. You are not here to be consumed. You are here to live. Now let us turn to the practical. How do you protect your energy permanently? Begin with 3 daily rituals. The first is solitude. At least once a day, withdraw from all noise, phones, conversations, obligations, enter silence. In silence, you hear what is yours and what is not. Without silence, you forget. The second is journaling. Write down where your energy went each day. Who drained you? Who nourished you? What thoughts consumed you? Patterns will emerge. Once you see them, you can change them. The third is deliberate refusal. Each day, practice saying no to one unnecessary demand. Start small. A trivial request, a casual favor. Feel the guilt. Feel it pass. Each refusal is a brick in your fortress. There is also the sacred practice of energy recall. Before sleep, close your eyes and imagine golden threads extending from your body to everyone you encountered that day. Some threads are vibrant, others are frayed. Gently, one by one, pull them back into your chest. Say quietly, I reclaim my energy. It is mine. Watch as the threads return, your chest glows brighter, your breath deepens. This ritual is ancient and its effect is profound. Try it for a week and you will feel the difference. But perhaps the most powerful protection is this. Live aligned with your deepest values. When your life is scattered, when you live by others' demands, your energy leaks. When you live by your own compass, your energy concentrates. Ask yourself, what do I truly value? Not what I was taught to value, not what others demand. What burns in me as truth, live that truth. Every compromise bleeds energy. Every alignment restores it. The transformation will not go unnoticed. Some will resist. They will call you arrogant, selfish, distant. Let them. Others will be drawn to you with reverence. They will sense your strength, your clarity, your wholeness. They will not harvest you. They will walk beside you. And with them, you will build a new circle, a circle of authenticity, where energy flows in reciprocity, not theft, where giving is chosen, not demanded, where love is freedom, not bondage. Imagine yourself now, no longer drained, no longer haunted by fatigue, no longer manipulated by guilt. Imagine waking with energy that belongs only to you. Imagine giving love because you choose, not because you fear. Imagine standing in any room, unshakable, untouchable, sovereign. This is not fantasy. This is the fruit of individuation. Jung called it the birth of the self. It is the moment you stop living as fragments and begin living as a whole. And here is the final revelation. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is sacred. For when you are whole, when you are not drained, you can give from abundance. You can create. You can love freely. You can stand as an example that others may follow. This is why the harvest must end, not only for you, but for the world. Because a drained soul cannot change anything, but a sovereign soul, that soul changes everything. So I ask you now, are you ready to close the gates of your fortress? Are you ready to reclaim every thread of energy you have ever given away unconsciously? Are you ready to live not as prey, but as creator? If your answer is yes, then write it in the comments. I reclaim my energy. Say it boldly. Claim it now. And remember, this is only the beginning. Subscribe, join this journey, and together we will continue to expose the shadows and awaken the self. Because the harvest is over, and your sovereignty has begun.